नमस्कार सभी को dear learners. Today we will discuss about the solid waste management and associated health issues. Myself Professor Subhas Anand. I am teaching geography at Department of Geography, Delhi School of Economics, University of Delhi. Dear learners, basically this topic solid waste management and associated health issues we will cover in two different videos. First video, part 1, will discuss solid waste management as a system and its health issues. We know that this is a very crucial topic, a very critical and important significant topic in today's time. The major objective of this video is to analyze the concept, types, sources and generation to disposal steps in solid waste management system. I am fully sure this video will help you to understand the entire process of solid waste management and its impact on human health. After going through this video, you will be able to understand the types of solid waste, waste generation, composition, transportation, disposal methods by examining the variations across the different areas. And you will be able also to learn the concept of solid waste management hierarchy, and this video also enhance your analytical capabilities for solid waste generated issues, and you will be in the position to gain insights about the occupational health by the identifying different risks. And finally, we will also discuss the rules and regulations which have been framed for the solid waste management in country in India. Under this video, we will try to cover its meaning, definition and concept, types and classification, compositions and different problems associated with generation, collection, transportation and waste disposals, and landfill site and dumping grounds, health effects and institutions working for the solid waste management. And we will also try to cover a case study. And finally, we give some recommendations for suggestions for sustainable solid waste management, and finally give some references. So, this will be the content of our entire video of today on this topic. Dear learners, as you know that when human beings do some economic activities like manufacturing, processing, production or consumption, certainly there is a found some generation of the waste of different kinds, and it is very inseparable part of our life. The solid waste management increasingly day by day due to different reasons like increasing population, increasing urbanization, industrialization, changing consumption pattern, changing socio-economic conditions and the lifestyle. But due to the improper management of municipal solid waste, there is found different kinds of health hazards which are found in different residential areas and people are suffering. So, the main purpose of solid waste management is to reduce and minimize the adverse effects of health of the human being and also natural environment. This solid waste management is the main pillar in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan program introduced by Government of India. And dear learner, as you know that nowadays we are talking about the eco-city, healthy city, sustainable city, resilient city, safe city, livable city, inclusive city, sustainable smart city and future city. In all these kinds of cities, solid waste management is a very important and significant component. We cannot think any city as a sustainable without including the human health and well-being. So, we can say that any kind of city having the solid waste as a very crucial component for achieving the urban sustainability at higher level. As we know that United Nations launched 17 Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, which are supposed to be covered and achieved by 2030. And among all these 17 SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal 11 talks about sustainable cities and communities, making the cities inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. In the SDG 11, it is directly focused on sustainable solid waste management. As far as the concern and importance of solid waste management is concerned, municipal solid waste management continue to remain one of the neglected areas of urban development, basically in developing countries, least developed countries, and solid waste is generally considered as an urban issue. In present scenario, we are having the around 56% urban population in entire world, which is more than 50%. So, half of the world is urbanized. But as far as the high income economies are concerned, they are having around 81% urbanization as compared to the low income economies, which are having only 35% urban population. And South Asia is having 36%, and our country India is also having the 36% urban population in current scenario. And it is expected that as the urbanization is increasing, urban population is increasing, certainly that solid waste will be increased and expected to increase about 3.8 billion tons by the year of 2050 from the 2.3 billion ton in current scenario. And now it's become more and more difficult to manage the huge amount of solid waste generated from different areas, different sources. So, as per the report given by the UNEP Global Waste Management Outlook 2024, that between the 4 lakh to 1 million people die each year as a result of disease which are related to the mismanagement of waste. And basically the major disease includes diarrhea, malaria, heart disease, cancer and many more. So, dear learner, now we will try to understand what is municipal solid waste. The word waste means different things to different peoples. Solid waste is a heterogeneous mixture of paper, plastics, cloth, glass, resin, organic matter and many more. And this solid waste can be defined in terms of unwanted residues, solid or semi-solid, that is thrown away by the domestic, industrial and commercial sectors. That municipal solid waste, more commonly known as a trash, garbage, which consists of everyday items we use and throw away, such as product packaging, grass clippings, furniture, clothing, bottles, food scraps, newspapers, different appliances, paints and batteries. The words like garbage, rubbish, trash, refuse, sometimes we use as a synonymly, but in actual sense, the each and every word having its own meaning. Like as far as garbage is concerned, garbage used mainly for food waste, but also include other degradable organic waste. Rubbish consists combustible and non-combustible solid waste, excluding food waste. Refuse is used basically collective term for food solid waste, includes garbage and rubbish. And litter is basically used the paper, discarded wrappings, bottles and etc. So, as per the World Health Organization, the solid waste is applied to unwanted and discarded materials from different sources like houses, street sweepings, commercial and institutionals, arising out of mass activities. And the solid waste it basically includes many sources like residential, institutional and commercial, street sweeping, constructions and demolition sites. So, different areas basically provide the different items which becomes the part of municipal solid waste. Types of waste. Solid waste can be categorized on the basis of its origin, content and hazard potential. As far origin is concerned, under the category of origin, we include domestic, industrial, commercial, constructions and institutionals. On the basis of content, solid waste may be organic and recyclable waste, and on the base of category of hazard potential, it may be toxic, non-toxic, flammable, radioactive, infectious, etc. And as far as general classification of solid waste is concerned, municipal solid waste, under this category, it consists of everyday items we use and throw away, such as product packing, grass clippings, furniture, clothing, bottles, food scraps, newspaper, appliances, paint and batteries. These are few products. Under the category of hazardous waste, this category includes those items that are very harmful for the health of the human being and also for the natural environment. Under the category of industrial waste, it is a manufacturing waste from wide range of different processes. And under the category of biomedical type of waste, it is a waste generated during diagnosing, treatment or immunization of human beings or research activities, and it basically includes sharps, soiled waste, disposables, anatomical waste, cultures, discarded medicines, chemical wastes, etc. And last category we can have the special type of the waste, which includes the waste such as street sweepings, roadside litters, catch basin debris, dead animals, and the abandoned different types of vehicles. Solid waste management process. Dear learners, the solid waste management process it basically includes the many steps from generation to disposal. It starts from generation. Next step is segregation and storage. After that, collection, transportation, processing, recycling, and disposable. And after the disposal, we can also use the resource recovery, recycling, and reusing the waste. So, solid waste management process start from generation to the management. And as far as under this category, actors are concerned, stakeholders are concerned. There are different stakeholders, and on the basis of the formal and informal activities we can divide. In formal activities we can include the local masses, community, non-government organizations working for solid waste management, municipalities, and under the second category, that is informal activities, we can include rag pickers, scrap dealers, wholesaler dealers who are engaged in recycling activities, and in between we can also have a third categories which includes the formal and informal activities. We can have public private partnership, triple P. So, basically in the solid waste management system there is engagement of different kinds of stakeholders. Waste generation. For the waste generations, we can have the data on the waste generation and production. And data is very crucial for the research, for management, for decision making, for planning. It is not only numbers. And when we have the data on different urban issues and put together, it give a very clear picture and situation how we can achieve this sustainability, how we can have a sustainable development, sustainable environment. In current scenario, the world is producing 2.3 billion tons of municipal solid waste each year, which is expected to increase about 3.8 billion tons in next 26 years by the year of 2050. And at global level, the per capita waste generation as an average is around 740 grams, but its range is differ from 0.11 to 4.4 kilograms in different areas, different regions. As we can have the in highly developed countries, there is high per capita income of waste production as compared to the middle and low income economies. In high income economies, they are having around 16% population of the world, but they are producing around 34% waste of the entire world, more than double of their population. Population is only 16%, but waste productions is around 34%. And daily per capita waste generation in high income economies is projected to increase by 19% by the 2050, while in the low and middle income economies it is expected to increase about 40% by the year of 2050, and total quantity of waste generated in low income economies is expected to increase by more than 3 times in next 26 years. Dear learner, now you can see that this slide is basically giving some data on waste generations in next 26 year by the year of 2050. Here there are 3 different situations. In first situation, the waste management as usual, as we are going. Under these situations, that as per this figure, it may be 3,229 million ton by the 2040 and 3,782 million tons by the 2050. But in next situation, we can have, that is waste under control. In this situation, the waste generation quantity may be reduced. The waste generation may be 2,923 million tons by 2040, and it will be around 3,146 million ton by 2050. And third situation, circular economy. In circular economy, there is a, we can say that, significant reduction in waste generation and per capita waste generation. So, this basically figure is giving the data having the 2020 as a base year and giving the projected data for next 30 years, means by the 2050. Waste composition at global level. As far as the composition is concerned, the waste composition is defined on different factors like socio-economic conditions, standard of living, changing consumption pattern, lifestyle, and on the basis of these factors, we can say that high income economies generating 32% food and green waste and 51% dry waste that can be recycled. But in another category of the countries like the middle and low income economic countries, in middle income economies it is 53%, in low income economies it is 57% food and green waste. But in low income economies, material that could be recycled account only 20% of the waste streams. But as far as our country India is concerned, in India, municipal solid waste is composed of about 40 to 60% is biodegradable material and 30 to 50% includes inner type of the material, and the 10 to 30% is found recyclable materials. So, this figure is giving the data that in high income economies, they are having the higher percentage of the dry waste, recyclable type of the waste. But in the middle income economies and low income economies, there is found higher amount of organic type of the waste. Now, we should understand the solid waste generation in India. So, dear learner, in India, the figure as per the Central Pollution Control Board, the solid waste generated is around 1,60,038 tons per day, and out of the total waste around 95% is being collected. So, the collection efficiency is very good and very higher. And if you put a glance over these slides, it is showing the data. The highest quantity of the waste is coming from the Maharashtra, followed by the Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and the sixth positions occupied by the state of the Delhi. But the per capita income waste generations, Delhi occupies the first positions. The data is giving the based on 2020 and 21 by the CPCB that 450 grams per day waste generated is coming out from the state of the Delhi. And when we talks about the solid waste storage, collection and transportations, there are certain deficiencies, like we can say that there is found the lack of the segregations of the municipal solid waste. There is a scientific and systematic storage of the waste at source which is not found at all, not in the practice. Waste is thrown in nearby different open areas. There is a found lack of the dustbins, lack of dalhouse and the litter bins in the city areas, and there is also found that the lack of the provision for door-to-door collection of the waste in most of the cities in the country. And in waste transportation system, there is also found many deficiencies, like all type of mixed waste including hazardous and construction waste material are removed by the transport vehicles in many metro cities. Transportation system is not synchronized with the secondary sources system. Number of regular operators is much lesser than the required, and sometimes transport vehicles are not covered properly. So, when we talk about the impact of the municipal solid waste on human health and the environment, basically there are three different stakeholders, that is the community, rag picker and the animals, and they are having different kinds of disease because of the improper management of the municipal solid waste. We can also make a difference that solid waste management system in developed and in developing countries. In developed countries, there is a highly efficient system. They are more focusing on 4R strategies, that is reduce, recycle, reuse and resource recovery. They also having the scientific disposable methods, focus on environmental impact assessment on landfill site, which is not found in least developed countries and developing countries. When we talk about the landfill sites in India, as per the Central Pollution Control Board 2020, there are 1924 sites for the landfills, and 305 landfills have been constructed and 126 are under constructions, and maximum number of landfill sites have been identified in the states of Maharashtra, followed by Madhya Pradesh and the Karnataka. But because of the municipal solid waste disposal and dumping on the open ground and landfill sites, there is found many ill effects, negative impacts on human health. And the impact of the solid waste on health may vary depending on different factors. For example, nature of waste, composition, different methods and practice, and expose stakeholders and duration of the exposure. And there is also found the lapses in storage, segregations, collection, disposal of solid waste, which leads in the creation of the breeding grounds for the biological vectors such as insect, pests and rodent, and the health problems which are directly linked to the improper solid waste management includes nose and throat infections, lungs infections, breathing problem, inflammations, bacterial infections, covered lungs hemorrhage, altered immunity, allergy, asthma and different type of other infections, along with the vector-borne disease like dengue, diarrhea and many different gastro problems. So, finally, we can say that in order to manage the solid waste in proper method, we should basically focused on this figure which have been just showing on this slide, that from the reduction, reuse, recycling of the waste, and there must be lowest emphasis on dumping and landfilling. Highest priority should be given for our strategy as a part of integrated solid waste management strategies. And for the management of the solid waste in our country, the Government of India is framed the rule and regulations since long back. If we talk about the current rule, that is the Solid Waste Management and Handling Rule 2016, which is going on and putting the focus for achieving the sustainable solid waste management, for having the urban sustainability in all those cities. So, this figure is also giving the data that solid waste generations state-wise, and this is case study of the Delhi, which are basically focusing that there is found around 10,990 tons per day waste generations with the collection efficiency of 100%, and per capita waste generation is 450, and there are around 4 landfill site, that is the Balaswa, Okla, Gajipur, Bamana is receiving the waste from different zones, different areas of the waste, and as far as the sanitation staffs are concerned, that there is found 33,000 wastes which staffs are engaged there. So, this is the figure which has been showing the different situation of the solid waste generations and the collections in different areas. So, this is the composition of the waste. These are some suggestions for having the sustainable solid waste management. First of all, at the household level, there should be different dustbins for the organic waste and inorganic waste. For achieving the Viksit Bharat, we should mainly focus on waste segregation, collection and disposal scientifically, focusing along with the 4R strategies. Sustainable solid waste disposal method should be applied taking into account the confidence of all the stakeholders. We should also try to conduct the seminar, discussions, workshop and also use the social media. There should be proper impact assessment study, environmental impact assessment and health impact assessment of each and every landfill site and dumping ground. And for management of the municipal solid waste, we should also use latest technology which includes geospatial techniques, geographical information system, drone technology, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning and many more. Finally, we should also focus on science policy interface. The finding of the research should be also given to the scientists so that they can frame the policy and also having a planning for achieving the sustainable environment and sustainable development in the cities. These are the list of the references for this video. These are some websites. Thank you very much.